This is Photoshop complete beginners to advanced tutorial. So if you find yourself here, I think you are the right place at the right time. All that I want you to do is you pause the video, you practice at a certain point, or you practice at a certain time. It's actually free of charge. There is no registration fee, there is nothing. So you find time, you watch the video, you download it, and then you practice. That is all. So without much ado, let's get started. What is Adobe Photoshop? Photoshop is actually photo editing software and graphic design software. We use it to edit photos and we use it to come out with professional graphic designs. So when you open Photoshop, this is the interface. It brings you straight to the home screen. And the home screen of Photoshop is similarly to the home screen of our mobile phones. Most of us are using mobile phone, and when you take your mobile phone, you have a home screen. The home screen is where you are seeing your gadgets, like sometimes you see something like the call tab or the call lock icon, camera may be there, and a whole lot of stuffs. And if you want to have a full preview of your apps, there is a place that you click, then it will give you a full preview of your app. So the home screen here is basically giving us a preview of our project. So when you come to Photoshop home screen, it basically displays your recent project, a project that you have ever opened or you have already opened. Then it shows at the home screen for you. So anytime you want to visit that particular project, you just click on it and then it will send you straight to the workspace of that particular project. So let's take a project and then drag it inside our home screen and then see what I am talking about practically. So I'll drag one of my projects here and then let's see how it opens. So this is one of my project. It's actually neon effect project, so I know you like it. I'll do a video of that. So this is before and then this is after. So that is a quick one there. So let's close this file tab and see what I was actually talking about. So I'll close it and then look, it shows at the home screen as a recent project. So if I want to visit it again, I'll once click on it, then look, it's loading, so it opens the project for me again. So that's basically how the home screen work. Not only to that, you can put multiple projects on your home screen. So let me drag this particular flyer here too, and then we see now it opens. Let's close it and you see something. Let's switch to our home screen. Look, that one too shows at the home screen. So the home screen is basically showing you your recent files or your recent projects you have already worked on. Now you can switch between the home screen and your workspace. So if you want to switch from your home screen to your workspace, you click on the Photoshop icon. Look, then it brings you to your workspace. This is actually your workspace. So this brings us to your workspace. What is this workspace am I talking about? So the workspace is basically like your normal workspace that you also work on. For instance, maybe you are a footballer, so your workspace may be on the pitch or a field. You go there, you take your football, then you begin to play. That is actually your workspace. When you come to Photoshop, it's similarly. This is actually our workspace, and whatever thing we want to do, we will do everything at our workspace. So if you want to switch back to the home page or the home screen, you see the home icon at the left corner. You click on it, then it brings you back to the home screen. And if we want to switch back to our workspace, we click on the Photoshop icon, then it brings us back to our working environment or our workspace. Now when you get to the workspace, there are three major components you have to take note, because the workspace looks confusing. There is a whole lot of options here. You have a whole lot tools and all that. So what are these three major components am I talking about? We have tools, we have panels, and then of course your canvas. This is the canvas. This is where you are going to do all your activities. This is actually your canvas. So we have the tools, we have the panels, and then we have your canvas where you are actually going to do your paintings or all that. For instance, this is the preview of the tools. If I don't want it to display in this format, look, there is an arrow here. If I once click on it, then change the view of the tools for me. Maybe you may prefer this format, so you can change it, but I always like it in a vertical order, so I'll click and send it back. So that is basically how the home screen or the working environment operates. You have to know the components. So these are the basic components you have to know. And besides that, maybe this is not the structure or the preview of my workspace. Trust me, when you advance in Photoshop, you customize the workspace according to your needs. What do I mean by according to your needs? For instance, maybe you basically design cartoons. It means that you need a particular set of tools to carry out your designs perfectly. The same thing applies to any other designer. Maybe I am not into cartoons, but I do everything together. But this is not the interface I work with. So it means that we can customize our working environment. That is what I mean. How do we then customize our working environment? How to set up your workspace? So what you do is, all the panels here, I don't need it. I have to customize what I need. So I'll click and drag it here and close it. All the panels that I don't need, then I'll drag it here and then I'll close it off. I don't need this panel too. I have adjustment panel. That one too, I may not need it. I'll just drag it off and then I'll close it. Once I close it, I have libraries. Libraries too, I don't actually work with libraries. So I'll drag it inside and then I'll take it off. Now I have layers, I have channels, I have paths. So I am okay with layers because all that I'm going to do is going to show as layers and I'm okay with that. And I have these panels here, I have history and I have properties. Maybe you can leave it as it is. So I have omit all the other panels. It means that I don't need them. I want to customize it to how I want it. So maybe let me clear off this one so we will set it back. And then the properties panel too is gone. I don't need it. Now, how do we then set up our own preview or our own working environment? You move straight to the Windows, workspace is here. Then you could see that I have my personal, I have royals, I have essential. But right now, essential is checked because that is the default Photoshop workspace. So my personal and royals is my customized working space. I don't want to select any of them for the purpose of this video. I want us to customize our own working environment. So you can see that I have already disorganized a whole lot of stuffs here. Maybe you need it back or you want to bring it back. So you go back to reset essentials. Once you click on reset essentials, look, all the panels that I have disorganized or I have closed down, everything is reset back to its original position. But we want to customize ours, so I'll bring them one by one again and close it so that we will get access to customize ours. So let me drag the whole of this panel and close it. And I think I have colors. I don't need this color. Let me drag this panel here. I'll close it down. I have switches. I don't need switches. Let me drag it inside and then I'll close it gently. I have layers. I have channels. I have this history. Let me drag it. I'll close it. I have properties. Let me drag it from this place and then I'll close it down. Now I am left with few panels. Then I would like to add the other panels that I liked aside these panels. So we come to Windows. I like working with actions because actions control a whole lot. So maybe I'll set actions. I'll click on it. Look, then it gives me actions panel. So I'll drag it and then dock it maybe somewhere here. So you can close it. Now I have my actions bar, and of course it has even added the history panel, and I will leave it as it is because I like history. We will talk about it later. What do I need again? Maybe I need let me see, I need properties. So I'll click on properties and bring it straight to this particular place and dock it here. So I'll leave the properties panel. So whatever I'm working on, I'll actually see the properties of that particular object. What do I need again? Maybe sometimes when I'm typing anything, I always work with this typography style things called toggle characters. So I would like to bring my paragraph. Then I have it here. So I have the character and I have the paragraph in one. So I'll dock it here. I'll dock it right here. I think it has open as a separate bar, but I don't want it in that format. So we will get it back. We'll get it back. So this is it. Let me dock it here one by one. Let me dock this one too here. And now we have it in line. So this is the preview that I want, not the Photoshop default environment. This is actually what I want. Now that I have been able to customize my working environment or workspace to my needs now, how then do I save it? I have to save it so that anytime I want to visit this particular working environment or workspace, I won't worry myself to customize anything new. So what I'll do is I'll come back to Windows, then I'll go to Workspace, then I have New Workspace. I'll click on New Workspace, then I'll give it a name, of course. So I can even give it, let me say, GH. So that is my new workspace. Then you can check this boxes here. Afterwards, save it. So now we have saved this particular working environment. We have saved this particular working environment, the workspace. So let's go back to the Windows and see something. Get to workspace. Now look, GH is now checked. It means that that is our current working environment. If I want to switch back to Photoshop default working environment, what do? I'll check it. Then I'll go back, workspace, then I'll reset essential. Look, it then resets the working environment back to the default Photoshop environment. But this is not where we are going to work on because we have already customized our working environment. So let's go and pick our GH working environment. This is it. So I'll check it. Then it brings me back to my customized working environment. Not only to this, there are other things you also have to take note of aside setting up your working environment. There are other important things you have to take note of. When you look at the working environment, not only the panels, not only the canvas and the tools also, but if you look at the top here, we have something like file, edit, image, and so forth and so on. So on this particular bar is called the menu bar. So the menu bar here is actually controlling a whole lot, or let me say that is the major controller of Photoshop. It controls all other panels, all other settings. So that is where we even use to customize our working environment. If you go to file now and you want to create any new file, you hit on a new or control and then it will give you a new document. Then you create your document. If you want to open a file, you click on open file, then that one too, it will give you your file explorer and then you select the file that you want to open. Not that only, you can also save anything you want to save as a document. You can save it. So that is how the menu bar works. It controls all the activities of Photoshop. View will give you different precepts. Zoom in is there, zoom out is there, fit to screen. Maybe you are working and then like the document, you see it on my working environment or my canvas now. You could see that it's kind of a small. You can go to view and then you say zoom in. Look, now it increases. If I go to view again and I say zoom out, look, it then reduces the size of my document. So the menu bar here actually controls a whole lot, or the major factor or the major activities of Adobe Photoshop. Not only the menu bar, if you come downwards, aside the menu bar, we have this particular tabs here. That is our options bar. What is this options bar am I talking about? The options bar works collectively with Photoshop tools. What do I mean by it works collectively? Look, if I select the brush tool, look, a different precept also displays at the options bar, giving me the ability to change the size of the brush. Look, I can change the size of the brush. This one is even small. Let me increase it again. You see my brush size increases. I can reduce the size of the brush and then the size also reduces. So for instance, I have increased the size of the brush and my foreground color is white. So let me click on any portion of my project here, or let me even change the color and click on the background image or select any other thing. The effect will take place. Look, you could see that this particular portion has become black. We can undo it by pressing Ctrl or Command Z. Then we get back to the original position. Let me interchange it. I want it to preview in a white color so that you see the effect. So I'll switch it and then one click again and nothing is happening. Yes, now I think the effect is working. So this is how the brush tool works. So once I clicked on any aspect of my document, now the effect takes place. I don't want it, so I'll press Ctrl or Command Z to undo it. And that is how you can use the options bar to set your brush to any size. And this one, you could see that the hardness is 0. That is why you saw it in that light order. So let me click again. It will come and then you see the light. So it's lighting. It's not hard because I have reduced the hardness. Let's go back to the options bar and then set the hardness from 0 to maybe 100, or increase the hardness from 0 to a certain percentage. So let's increase the hardness a bit. So let me increase the hardness to 100%. Now I have increased the hardness to 100%. Let me undo this one again. And then let's once click on it again and see something. I click and then look. Now it gives me that sharp hardness of the size of the brush. So I don't want this, so I'll do Control Command Z, then it goes back. So that is how you could use the options bar to regulate or control other tools. So if I click on the move tool, it gives me preset. It gives me sole preset on how to move, how to center, or how to do any other thing at all. So that is how you can also, so for instance, this neon effect I have around my neck, maybe I would like to transform it, or I would like to select it or position it, or I even want to center it. What do I do? Maybe I can select my move tool and then I will position it the way I want. This is another effect. So if I turn it off, you could see that you are seeing a different color on it, but I actually prefer the blue, so I brought the blue on top. So that is how you can actually use the options tool. The options tool here regulates the other tools. It controls all other tools. It gives you different preset of other tools. Not only the options tool. When you come down here, just beneath here, we have the document size being displayed here. We have 8.33%. That is actually the zoom percentage or the zoom position of the current document you are seeing here right now. And then when you look on the file name, the neon blue PSD, you could see the 8.33% is also there. So that is actually the zoom position. If you want to zoom in again, you hold the Control or Command plus, then it increases. So look, our size has increased from, and now we have 12.5 instead of the 8 something. Now we are having 12.5. And of course you can increase it again by pressing Control or Command plus again. It increases to 16.7. So that is how you can regulate. So the status bar here is showing you the zoom position. So 16.7 is showing here, and then we have 71.4 megabytes. So let's click on this arrow and I'll show you something. So you can actually customize this status bar. It's set to document size, but I always prefer document dimension. So let me choose document dimension. Look, it gives me the dimension of this particular size right now. It's 57.778 inches by 83.333 inches. So let's reduce the size. So this particular size here, that is what you are basically seeing here, and the resolution is also showing. So the status bar here is actually showing your activity on the document you are working on, and you can even scale it to maybe layers count. The layers count here is basically going to show the number of layers you are working with. So you could see that I have 4 layers here. So this is layer 1, and if I open, it says 4 layers, 1 group. The group here is basically the something that looks like folder. What you are seeing here, that's the group. So if I open inside, I have other sub layers. So I have layer 1, layer 2, adding up to these layers and the background layers, making all 4 layers. That's why you see 4 layers, 1 group. So let me set it back to my document dimension. So that's a quick one there, how to switch between your menu bar, your tools, your status bar, and also regulate the options bar. Now a quick refresher, how do you go back to the home screen? You click on the home icon, then it brings you to the home screen. If you want to switch back to the working environment, what do? You click on the Photoshop icon, then it brings you back to the working environment. If you want to move anything, you press V as shortcut to activate your move tool. So that is a quick one there. Then moving forward, there is something important that you should know before whenever you are starting with a software. That particular aspect is very important, and you have to stress on that one first to be able to use the software. What am I talking about? That is how to open a document, how to create a document, and also how to save a document. So in Photoshop, how do we open a document? You go to File, then you go to Open. So once you click on Open, it will give you your preview or the File Explorer. Then you select whatever document you want to preview. Look, I have a whole lot of documents here. So maybe I want to preview this particular image here. So I'll select it and I'll click on Open. Then it opens for me. Now I have a preview of my document here. If I close it now, remember we learned something about how to switch to home screen. So let's switch and see something. I'll switch and look, that one too is showing as a recent project at the home screen. So let's switch back. So that's basically how you can open a document, and that is not actually the shortcut. You can also use the shortcut. You can open your File Explorer directly from your computer, and then whatever document you want to work on, look, whatever document you want to work on, let me pick any picture or any image from here. Maybe I want to work with this particular image. I'll click on it. Then without releasing my hand from the left button, I'll click and drag it and drop it at the top here. So let me minimize it, bring it back. I think my file is still loading. So let me give you other shortcuts to that. Okay, now it works. So what I'll do is I'll click on it, drag it and drop it on top, not inside the canvas, but on top here, on top of the menu bar. I'll release it, then it opens it as a separate document. Why didn't I want you to drop it on top of the menu bar? Because if I drop it here, it will not be open as a separate document. So look at what I was talking about. Let me drop it inside here. Look, now it will open. You see it's showing here as it's not a separate document, but it's a separate layer inside another layers. So it's on top of this particular project. That is what you could see here. So we don't need it. I'll delete it. So whenever you are opening a document and you want it to be a separate document, you can use shortcut like this. You click and drag it at the menu bar, and then it will open as a separate document. Or even there is another shortcut. You can hold the Control or Command O. So let's try it. Control or Command O. Then it opens your File Explorer for you. Then you select whatever project you want to open. Then you open. Then how do you then save your project, or how to save a file? How do you then save a file? Let's begin with how to create a file so that we will leave how to save a file at the last. Now we have to look at how to create a file. We have looked at how to open a file. So how do we then create a file? It's simple. It's a file we are creating. So it means that we are creating a new file. So what do? We go to File, then we create our new document. So I'll click on New, then it will give me a preset on any document I want to create. In fact, there is a whole lot of preset in Photoshop. So once it opens, you will see different paper size. So this is what I'm talking about. We have the photo, we have the print. So let me click on photo. So we have default Photoshop size, we have the landscape and the portraits. If you go to print, the print sizes here is given our A4, letter, legal, tabloid, A3 is the A6, B2, B3, all the ABC paper sizes are there. Not all of them, but most recently used ones are displayed in Photoshop. And of course, we have art and illustration too. You can use art and illustration too. So if you want to create a new file, for instance, maybe I want us to create A4 document. So I'll click on A4. Look, width and the height, it displays here, and the dimension is in millimeters. So maybe I like working in inches, so let me select inches. So you click on the arrow, then you choose. We have pixels, we have inches, centimeters, millimeters. So I'll pick my inches. Now this is the size of A4 sheet in inches, and you could see this art here. This one means portrait, and this one also means landscape. So if I want my A4 to be displayed in landscape, I'll click on landscape. So then we create our file. The resolution is 300 and pixel or inches. Of course, I've selected inches, so we leave here the same. Our color mode, RGB color, that one too is okay. So we leave it as it is. 8-bit is okay, and the background should be white as well. So we hit on create. Then we create our document. Our document is on title because I did not give it any title, but you can give it a title. How do we then give it a title? Let me go back and create a new document. So let's close this one. We go to file, we go to new, then it opens our document format or our pop-up menu for us to create